You are watching the Global Gamers Invitational Tournament brought to you by iFixit. SCVs for the real world. The Handsome Nerd attire for the handsomest of nerds. And Esports United, sponsored by Intel. This broadcast is also made possible by IC Cup TV, TeamLiquid.net, and of course, Blizzard Entertainment. Hello everyone and welcome back. This is Mac. I am here with Railcoon and this is the Global Gamers Invitational brought to you by IC Cup TV. This is Game 4 between Dimaga and WhiteRa, a Zerg versus Protoss on Steps of War. And once again want to thank those sponsors, iFixit, SCVs for the real world, the Handsome Nerd attire for the handsomest of nerds, and of course Esports United, sponsored by Intel. So, Dimaga on the ropes here, facing elimination. You were expecting, someone was hoping that he would go for a 7 pool. Looks like it's certainly not going to be the case, already up to 9. Wouldn't be surprised to see aggressive play. On this map, we often see Protoss going for that fast expansion, walling off with gateways and forges, and securing it. And Dimaga, of course, bailing happy, loves to see that. So it'll be interesting to see who expands faster. I really don't know what we'll Dimaga. See. He'll be the one to expand faster for sure, but I really don't know what we should expect from WhiteRa. He is sitting on a nice cushioned lead, has a good chance to try a second time, so I expect he'll be very conservative, generally speaking, but will that conservative mean attacking early or expanding early?
This could just mean like picking the small map like Steps of War. He might still be aggressive just because, he knows he still has the momentum here. But you have to be careful about that because if you go for 2 really aggressive builds and you lose both of them, even though you get the map choice in Game 5, it does sort of give the momentum back to your opponent. Because he's like, okay, it's Game 5, we're back to even. This isn't the best map, but I don't care, I'm feeling good. If he does manage to pull the win here, the momentum will shift back into Dimaga's favor. Just because when you're down 0-2 and you manage to bring it out to Game 5, it's just such a great feeling for your opponent that it will just give him a little bit more swing in emotion, and those sorts of things are really important in these matches. So if he is going to go for something really aggressive, we'll probably see something a little bit safer. Couple warp gate aggression, probably not super aggressive for warp gate, while building to be able to move into the later game at the same time.
Alright, so you've heard it. It's going to be early aggression followed by a medium-timed expansion. And this probe, once again, hero probe, wrecking that hatchery slowly but surely. Dimaga did go for a 14 pool, 16 hatch, just because his worker was a little bit delayed from that probe being a nuisance. But the worker outlasted the probe. Probe had to run away. Dimaga got the expansion down. And no extractor as of yet. A very interesting spine crawler in the back of his base. Don't know what that's about. He must be expecting a Huck-style aggressive zealot push. That's the only explanation I can think for this particular spine crawler placement. But given the hatchery out front, I don't know.
He did this on Lost Temple, actually. He built them up into his main really early. He's expecting the aggression, and as soon as that hatchery finishes, he's just going to walk them down, plant them in the creep, get that spine crawler up and running much faster than he normally would be by waiting for the hatchery and then building it. You can see the spine crawler is already on the way as the hatchery finishes. It will take a while to walk down the ramp, but he'll have that rooted and ready, be super good in a nice position to defend this expansion. If you're just a little bit worried about these early aggressive attacks with this Stalker, I mean, look at that. First Stalker's coming out, the Spine Crawler is rooting. He will be able to chase back the Stalker just long enough for these Zerglings to let that Spine Crawler finish rooting. Second one in progress. And that timing by Dimaga was just wonderful.
And nice control of those Zerglings. 4 Lings against the Stalker. Stalker would actually win. He didn't lose a single Zergling. Always micro back at week 1. These will be at full health when the actual encounter happens. And with 2 Spine Crawlers, the creep is pushing out. It's going to be tough for WhiteRa to make a dent on this wall.
Yeah, but that's a lot of Spine Crawlers. That's going to be setting back Dimaga more than a little bit early on in this game. We might see him skipping speed again early because of all of these Spine Crawlers. He's going to feel a little bit more safe. But again, WhiteRa's pushing in before these extra Stalkers, Spine Crawlers are finishing, putting pressure onto that outer one, trying to keep it from finishing. Excellent micro here by WhiteRa versus these Spine Crawlers so far in the series. gotta make sure he does not lose his queen this time here from Dimaga, as that was what really hurt him as well in the first game. But still, sneaking around to the side, hitting these spine crawlers, being super annoying with these stalkers. He's being aggressive, but not over the top at the same time, which is, I think what's the perfect thing to be doing in this position in this series. He will get a little bit more damage. Oh, that one stalker does get poked to death, but the other one will get out. His expansion's almost done. He's still looking very good in this game. He'll be able to drop the extra gateways in a moment and be able to warp in a bunch more units and continue this aggression.
Total flashbacks to Game 1, the same thing, using those stalkers to flank around the side where the spine crawlers can't hit. You got some drone kills, got a lot of delayed spine crawlers, a lot of drones trying to build spine crawlers then canceling. A waste of money, a waste of mining time, and now Dimaga has this really impressive 6 spine wall, but he has no speed links once again, and he is going to be very vulnerable because WhiteRa sitting on two Nexus, and he'll be ready to make a really, really strong mid-game push, and he is ahead of Dimaga. He's actually winning the macro battle, and this is something that Sen was doing so well, was not letting his opponent get ahead, but in this case, the Protoss player is beating the Zerg on economy. Yeah,
and WhiteRa being a little bit unexpected, instead of dropping a bunch of extra gateways and continuing this aggression like I thought he would, he actually drops a robotics facility at his front. He's starting a weapons upgrade, so we're probably going to see really aggressive robotics bay, like right off the bat, once he has enough gas here, because he did start chrono boosting out this observer. He wants to get that scouting information as soon as possible, so we'll set back the robotics. But the quick +1 plus that robotics facility makes me think we're probably going to see a robotics bay in a moment, maybe, except he's not dropping it, so he's just making me a liar.
It might be an immortal gateway composition. Immortals will shoot down the spine crawlers, and still no ling speed. Oh no, I'm wrong. Ling speed has finally happened. We have speed lings with wings, so Dimaga is in a better spot. He needs to press that creep forward, and he's not doing that. The creep will certainly help move the spine crawlers to a better offensive position, because that's not where he wants to be right now.
And if you look at Dimaga, WhiteRa, you can tell has actually gotten into his head a bit, because he just made a defensive overseer. It will help shut down this observer, but I gotta think that's gonna be like, you're not gonna Dark Templar me, right? He's got so many spine crawlers, he's going for the spire, he wants to make sure that his opponent can't sneak in anything crazy, he just tried Void Rays. A Dark Templar coming in here with no detection would completely tear him up. So he's just making sure he's completely protected. See, this Overseer isn't moving out to scout like it normally would, which is why I'm thinking that. But the Spire did just finish. We have Mutalisks on the way. But, WhiteRa's preparing to take his third already. That's really quick.
He also threw down a robotics bay, just like you were hoping to see. So, still, WhiteRa is out-Zerging the Zerg here. He's getting expansions earlier, getting them faster, reaching for great tech units. And Dimaga's going to have a tough time. If he can't get that third base up and running soon, he has so many minerals. I don't know why he doesn't have that third base yet. He's just so focused on his Mutalisks, when really what he needs, there it is. The hatchery is finally down, and right there is the observer scouting it out. So these players just so on top of one another.
Is he going to see the hatchery here? Yes, he does. He tried to plant another hatchery down here at the high yield because he had so many minerals. He will be able to force Dimaga to cancel it. The Mutalisks tried to fly back, and that will give WhiteRa a little bit more time to get some stalkers into position. He's got some at his natural. He's warping some in at his main. And that's not a lot of Mutalisks yet. So right here, he is taking down these stalkers, but it's going to give him more time to get some more stalkers up the ramp. Dimaga really does not want to engage this. Cannon is finishing as well. He might lose some of these Mutalisks. He's already lost one, and losing any mutas at this point is not helpful at all. He was able to shut down that third base by WhiteRa, but still WhiteRa's looking really good. If he can get some Colossus out, he's working on getting Blink, which will help protect them with a bunch of Stalkers. Zerglings coming in on the Stalkers and Sentries in the middle, but just dropping force fields everywhere to make it tough on the Zerglings. More Stalkers coming in to support. He will be able to hold this off. He's going to lose that group of Stalkers and Sentries, but Dimaga's going to have to back off away from the rest of them.
So during all of that mess, Dimaga lost both of his expansions, the third and the gold. He's now rebuilding his third base, also reached the other gold. and WhiteRa hasn't scouted this. Meanwhile, Dimaga ran with Zerglings, killed that second expansion of WhiteRa, and now WhiteRa throwing up a new one. So not much happened in that exchange. Both players sort of denied each other expansions for a few seconds, and then and they went ahead and rebuilt them anyways. Dimaga does have the nice map control, but it doesn't have the army that WhiteRa has. WhiteRa almost has +2 attack on the Stalkers, and if you remember on Metalopolis, it was the same thing. High damage Stalkers is what countered those Mutalisks, and I'm a little bit afraid for Dimaga here because he does not have a high-tech army quite yet. He's getting +2 attack on the Mutalisks, but that's not going to be enough. He needs really, really strong ground forces. I would like to see a Roach transition, given the high number of Stalkers. The Lings are just getting bullied so much with those force fields.
Yeah, but he hasn't really made any Colossus yet. That was really made it tough on Dimaga as well, because he had +3 attacks on these Stalkers, really tear through the Mutalisks. The Colossus were ripping the Zerglings apart so that they could not cut down that Stalker count. Dimaga doesn't have anywhere near the number of Mutalisks that he's got, and he's doing the same thing he did on Metalopolis. It's just, oh my god, I'm behind him, he's going to drop a hatchery everywhere and hope I get away with some of them. And, you know, he has that one done at the high yield. He's building a bunch of spine crawlers. He knows that these are risky expansions, so he has to drop these spine crawlers. Trying to fly in on the natural. He does kill a couple of probes here, taking out that cannon and a few probes, but will be chased away by the Stalkers. But level 3 weapons on the way for WhiteRa, just aggressive upgrades.
The Lings are attacking that expansion. There's only 2 cannons. They might be able to bring down the Nexus fast enough. It does have 2,000 hit points, which really matters against Marauders, but it's going to be enough to possibly stop these Lings. Stalkers are slow coming in, and it looks like they are going to get it. A big battle happening between the Stalkers and the Mutalisks of Dimaga, and Dimaga throwing away what looks like a lot of his Mutalisks.
Oh!
He does get the Nexus, but he's going to lose so many Mutalisks in the middle of the field here, throwing them away. I don't think he's controlling these at all.
Yeah, he just was not paying attention. He was looking somewhere else on the battlefield. Just losing all of those Mutalisks. WhiteRa was blinking around, trying to reduce the damage. If we look at the Mutalisk count now, he's down to 6 Mutas, 25 Zerglings. He's even on workers. He did finish his 3rd base, but this gold is going to be denied once more. You know, to WhiteRa, I don't think he scouted the other bases. He sees the one at the traditional 3rd.
Just finds that gold expansion, but the crawlers will hold it off temporarily. But if WhiteRa comes with the full force here, he is attacking with all of these Stalkers at the 2nd natural expansion, and there's just not enough forces to deal with what WhiteRa has right now. Too many Mutalisks went down in that last encounter.
Yeah, and you can see the visible shift in momentum there. When he lost all of those Mutalisks, he had his spine crawlers in the middle of the map in this great position saying, bring it on, I got map control. Do your worst, and then suddenly he lost all those mutas and they immediately backed up. That says a whole lot about his position in the game right there. These spine crawlers are going down anyway. There's a lot of Stalkers here. He's doing a great job blinking these out in 2s and 3s to really minimize the damage from the spine crawlers and the Zerglings, holding off all these units with taking barely any damage. Looks like he will be able to take out this base. And Dimaga still just has no army. These Stalkers are completely walking over him. He has +3 weapons once more. And there's the good game. Good luck from Dimaga. So WhiteRa does take him out 3-1. I expected the series to be closer than that. Like, I didn't think WhiteRa would dominate him quite that hard. But still very, very entertaining games nonetheless.
Yeah, well played by both players. Dimaga, of course, not doing as well as he normally does, but WhiteRa was just on him the whole way. I think Dimaga was a little bit too frightened. He built too many spine crawlers, not enough Zerglings in general, and that really showed the way in game after game. It was good Stalker play that did it for WhiteRa. We're not catching all of it, but WhiteRa with that +3 attack is constantly blinking the Stalkers around, taking advantage of all the contours, early game and late game, and really showing himself to be the superior player. So we are down 1 Zerg tonight. We have lost Dimaga, but Sen has eliminated his Protoss opponent. So 1-1.